When a teen ran up to an elderly woman in the rain, he had no idea that a police officer was watching his every move. The minute he crossed the parking lot toward his ride, the cop stopped him. At first, the driver thought it was a big misunderstanding, but it quickly became clear the cop knew exactly what he was doing. Officer Joe Holt with the Independence Police Department in Independence, Missouri, was sitting in his cruiser in a local grocery store parking lot during a downpour when a young man caught his eye. As the cop watched, a young black teen exited the backseat of a van in the pouring down rain and made a beeline for an elderly woman who was struggling to cross the parking lot in the rainstorm. Unaware that the cop was watching, the boy, who Officer Holt would later learn was named Tyria Pryor, took off his coat and held it over the woman's head, protecting the elderly white female from the elements the best that he could. Tyria followed the stranger all the way to her car, not knowing he was being watched or that the officer had snapped a picture. It was pouring down rain, and all of a sudden I see this teenager running across the parking lot taking his coat off, Holt recalled. The officer watched Tyria walk back to his car, all the while not saying a word to his auntie or mom when he exited or re-entered the van. That's when the cop knew he had to speak up. Officer Holt followed Tyria to his mom's van where he decided to have a talk with the boy's mother about what her son had just done. I followed him to the van and approached the driver who was his mom, Holt explained. I told this young man I was impressed, and he should be proud because I was. His mom had no idea what was happening. She thought she had done something wrong since I was in uniform, Holt admitted, but he quickly cleared up the misunderstanding. I told his mom that she has done amazing with him and I hope and pray he goes places. She started tearing up because I was a cop and took time out of my day to call him out on what I witnessed, Holt wrote in a Facebook post. It was a moment between the both of us. I teared up a little bit. I'm a parent as well, so I told her that I was very impressed with him and that he should be proud, Holt said. The officer later decided that he wanted to reunite with the young man. I'm touched by this kid, he admitted. I know the chances of this reaching his mom is slim, but kid, you impressed me. Holt posted on social media, hoping to reach the boy. I experienced something that actually set me back a little. It didn't set me back because I was shocked, but because I got to witness it firsthand, he wrote. With all the hate, fueled by color, belief, sexual preference, or race, it actually pisses me off. Why? Because most of it is based off of what they read in the papers. Most of it isn't based off personal experiences, Officer Holt added. This kid cared less about race, religion, or color. The only thing this kid cared about was being kind. Because of the impression Tyria Pryor had made on him, Officer Joe Holt then made an offer, hoping it would get back to the boy who had made his day. Kiddo, if you see me on the street again, this guy owes you a dinner. You ever need anything, I will come running to you, Holt promised. And he got to make good on his word as his wish came true. Officer Holt got his wish and was able to reunite with Tyria after a family member saw the post on IPD's Facebook page and called the police department, according to Fox 4 KC. He took the 14-year-old and his mother Ebony out to dinner to show his appreciation for what the boy had done for a complete stranger on that rainy day. As promised, after finding him, I took him out to dinner. He and his wonderful mom, Ebony, enjoyed some red lobster, Holt said, adding, This kiddo, who I have only known a short time already, means the world to me. The local news also caught up with Tyria, but the humble teen didn't think he had done anything out of the ordinary. I've been doing that since I was young, just like helping people, Tyria said, explaining that he has made helping people a habit. It looked like she needed help, he said, referring to the elderly woman. I was raised to do right toward anybody, he added. It doesn't matter what race or anything. That's the definition of being a good citizen. Let Tyria's character and his words be an example for us all. It doesn't matter who it is, just do what you know is correct, he said. And you really can't argue with that motto. Officer Holt's post about Tyria's selfless act quickly went viral, resonating with thousands of people across social media. The post was shared hundreds of times, and people from all walks of life praised the young teen for his kindness and humility. Many commented that in a world filled with negativity, Tyria's actions were a shining example of the good still present in humanity. One commenter wrote, "We need more kids like Tyria in this world. His parents must be so proud." Another person shared, "This just restored my faith in people. It's the little things that make the biggest impact." The overwhelming response showed just how much people longed for stories of kindness and compassion. Officer Holt himself was touched by the response. He later wrote another post, reflecting on how small acts of kindness often go unnoticed, but have the power to make a huge impact. This young man didn't know he was being watched. He did it out of the goodness of his heart, and that's what makes this story so powerful, he said. The story also reached the elderly woman Tyria had helped. After seeing the news coverage, she expressed her gratitude, saying that his kindness had not only shielded her from the rain, but had also warmed her heart. "I was having a rough day, and his gesture meant the world to me. It reminded me that there are still good people out there," she said. Tyria's school also caught wind of the story and recognized him during a school assembly. His teachers and classmates applauded him for his kindness, and he was presented with a certificate of recognition. "We always talk about being good citizens, and Tyria truly embodies that spirit," one of his teachers said. Meanwhile, Officer Holt and Tyria continued to stay in touch. The officer became somewhat of a mentor to the teen, checking in with him periodically and offering words of encouragement. "He's got a bright future ahead of him, and I want to make sure he knows that," Holt said. "If he ever needs anything, I want him to know I'm here." The story even gained national attention, with news outlets picking it up and sharing it across the country. People from different states reached out, sending messages of encouragement and even small gifts to show their appreciation for Tyria's kind heart. "I never expected any of this," Tyria admitted. "I was just trying to help." His mother, Ebony, was overwhelmed by the response but was not surprised by her son's actions. "This is just who he is," she said proudly. "I've always taught him to treat people the way he'd want to be treated, and seeing him live that lesson out in the world means everything to me." Tyria's story became an inspiration for many, with schools and community groups using his act of kindness as an example of how simple gestures can make a difference. Kindness doesn't cost a thing, but it can mean everything to someone else, one local teacher said while discussing the story with her students. As for Tyria, he remains humble about the experience. "I didn't do it for attention or praise. I just saw someone who needed help, and I helped," he said. His message continues to spread, reminding everyone that no matter how small, a good deed can have a ripple effect far beyond what we can imagine. Officer Holt couldn't agree more. Tyria's story isn't just about one moment. It's about the kind of world we all should strive to create, one act of kindness at a time.